it was 2015, August. I'm from New York City. And I kind of it was this chapter on a book that was like a 1 in a million lung disease. And the doctor was looking for the medication he was testing. And he said, I hope it's like the cure for tuberculosis that was found at Seaview Hospital in Staten Island. And I just have an affinity for disease. Like I just like stories about disease. And I Googled it and the story came up about the cure in Staten Island. But alongside of it was another story about this woman, Virginia Allen, who belonged to this cadre of Black nurses called the Black Angels. And so I became really interested in them. And I Googled it, and nothing came up and nothing came up. And then 3 days later, I called the museum in Staten Island and they said, well, you don't know Virginia? And I said, no, I don't. I had been to Staten Island 2 times in my entire life. It may as well have been in another country. And they invited me. They said, we're doing a grand reopening and she'll be talking about the Black Angels. So I took my then 4-year-old on the ferry because you have to get there by ferry. And I met her. And she said, email me and we can talk more. And that's how it started. We started meeting at this little cafe in Harlem Hospital every Wednesday. We talked for an hour about everything but the Black Angels. And then she invited me to her home, and she lives in the restored nurses residence that sits on the abandoned hospital complex. So surrounding her are all these abandoned buildings. And that's where the story began to really kind of unfold. She said, why don't you tell the whole story? And I said, how am I going to do that? There are no archives. And she said, I can give you the names of the families of these Black Angels. And so that's how it happened. It was oral history. And then the doctor who it sort of oversaw the cure, the first trials for the drug isoniazid, his son was alive. So he gave me his father's papers. And then through those papers, I tracked down 2 original trial patients who were dying and took this medication. And it was like this, if you're familiar with awakenings, when all the patients kind of start waking up, that's what happened, except they lived really, really into their, like, one died at 92 and another died at 90. And so I tracked them down and got their firsthand testimony. And so that's like an overview of how the research happened and the book kind of came to fruition.